Okay guys, we should be on live right now, so have a nice week first of all, and always happy to be here each Monday. Why not to do the weekly forecast, talking about the what happens last week and what can happen this week as well. So I will wait a few more minutes before I'm going to start, and meanwhile say to me on the chat if you hear me well and if you see me as usual, and also say hi and tell us where you're from. It's important to see the diversification in type of traders that join the 5ers. Bob, hi, perfect. Okay. Okay, so it should be good. I just have a feedback of Bob, but maybe other people are going to join. Just want to be sure that we all the traders that the 5ers get actually the link and the live stream. Texas, okay. USA. Yeah, so actually early morning for you, Bob, right now. Maybe, I don't know, I would say 8 a.m. maybe, 7 a.m. in Texas right now. Okay, it wasn't too far. I think 9 a.m. is New York, and probably you are like 1 hour earlier. Early morning, maybe take some coffee. You can hear me talking about the market, can discuss as well. Just want again to be sure before I start, everyone get actually the link before I start talking. There are going to be interesting point. Going to talk about dollar index as usual. Maybe the dollar ruble as well, the Russian ruble, and we're going to explain what's happened there. I think it's very interesting story for people that don't know what's happened there. What else? Gold, silver, euro dollar, for example. This is going to be interesting. Okay, Enrique, hi, perfect. Okay, so good so far. Let's start. Okay, so here we are. This is actually the dollar index. Generally, each Monday we talk about dollar index and how the dollar currency is going to behave the following week and the following days. For people that were with me last week as well, we tend to talk about an overextended movement on the weekly chart, but also on the daily. You see this huge movement on the upside, and that we're going to expect anytime soon a retracement at this level. Okay, actually we make a breakout above the highest point from 2016. Actually we go above this point, but actually we are going to retrace a little bit, and this is most likely because of the movement in ruble as well, in the euro. We have the ECB, the European Central Bank, that explain that they're probably going to raise interest rate as well. So that's also making an impact into the dollar. But here what we see, it's kind of a fake out here. Still, I don't like to draw a line for people that already knows me, because you can get trapped very easily. Okay, for people that actually sell at that point, exactly at that line, and you put the stop loss here, you already getting out of this type of trades. Okay, so try to think about a zone generally and not a line. That's something that very interesting to discuss. So this was probably the zone, even a little bit above, you know. But this is the zone. Even here, it's, you know, a little bit fake out. If we see on the H1, we'll see that with this type of movement, it was very difficult to get even higher than that. And if you go to the H4, it's kind of easy like that to see that we have had shoulders here, the second shoulders, and actually we go down. So this shows us that actually the dollar index and market in general are very healthy. Okay, so when of course you expect this type of rally, okay, when you have this rally in the daily chart, you expect at some point any sell off. Okay, so actually here there was a sell off, also here a little bit, here there was a very small one, and of course here we expect to have a huge one. And last week this gave us some opportunity in the euro dollar, in the pound dollar, in the dollar yen as well, and that's what we're gonna check in MT5 just after. Okay, so this is very interesting. What we can expect for that week, there is a lot of news this week that's going to happen. I think we have the talk of the Fed that also may bring some movement in the dollar, so you can be careful, but we are not, you know, we can make a retracement again to that zone. Okay, we can have an increase in volatility. Last week we had volatility, but this week can be even more higher, so you guys should be ready. But the opportunity actually on the dollar index just came up, okay, when it went down from 104.50 to actually 102.30. okay, so this was actually the movement as a trader that we wanted to expect, and this actually happened. Okay, so for people that expect this type of movement, congratulations. For people that don't play with that, actually, I believe that there might be other opportunity. Okay, actually we are a little bit retracing. I don't know if it's still the moment to open a trade against the dollar. Okay, I still believe that in the short term, also in the mid term, we're going to see the dollar maybe a little bit increasing in terms of value. But here we got the move, and we have to check also on a daily basis what's going to happen here on the dollar index. Okay. Okay, I want to talk about the dollar Ruble. Okay, I don't know if you guys know what's happened there, and if some of you in the chat want to explain as well why actually we see the dollar Ruble, let's say the Ruble, gaining a lot of value. This chart is quite amazing. Okay, so this is the chart of the dollar Ruble. Okay, so here was the beginning of the war between Russia and Ukraine. So we see that the Ruble currency depreciate a lot in general against the dollar, but also against the euro. It moved, I don't know, from 78 to 150 approximately. In Forex, we don't see this type of chart often. Okay, this is like a one-time event, big event, huge movement. It was like an increase of even today that the market actually, the ruble is gaining more than around 6% against the dollar. You know, it's having a 6% movement in a Forex pair. You won't see that every day. Okay, and I don't know, here from 84 to 105, it's like, I don't know, again, more than 30% in one day. This is quite a huge movement. The Ruble is a control market, not a free market. Maybe I don't think this is the main reason for what we see actually the Ruble gaining a lot of value. You actually see that here start. Okay, so approximately here start the war between Russia and Ukraine. Okay, so the Ruble, everyone say, okay, US is putting a lot of sanctions on Russia, and it will be difficult to make actually exchange. Okay, so we're going to sell Ruble and to buy dollar instead, and that's actually what happened here. So you see this big spike, and then we approach like this zone, and you see the price crashing down, but crashing down below the level of the previous, let's say before the war between Russia and Ukraine. Okay, so you actually see here a price. If you go to the monthly chart, for example, this is quite amazing. Okay, you see this spike 150, and then we actually at the level of 2018. Okay. Okay, so this is quite amazing. Yeah, Bob, you're kind of approaching what I want to say, but what's happened is like Russia is a big exporter of, I don't know, of commodity, oil, for example, wheat as well, some like food supply. And there are some countries that needs actually those commodities. We know that all the commodity index and all the commodity sector is firing in terms of price. We have inflation, so all investors are putting their edge on commodity index. Okay, so we have a lot of countries wanted to buy food. Okay, wanted to buy energy as well, and because US have put sanction on Russia, they can actually not buy using the dollar. Okay, so what investors and what country, and I don't know, maybe also companies are starting to do in order to make exchange between Russia and their company or their country, they are actually changing their dollar into ruble. Okay, in order to get the supply, in order to get the food, to get the energy, to get whatever else. Okay, this is actually why we see actually the ruble gaining value from 150, this spike, to 57 today. Okay, this is actually one of the main reasons why the ruble is starting to gaining a lot of value, and this is quite very impressive. Okay, so you know where you should look at during this macro environment context. Okay, you should put your eyes in commodity, and you should put your eyes in forex market. Okay, most especially. But this is actually why you see the ruble gaining a lot of value against the dollar. Okay. Yeah, that's correct. Wildlife Poland. That's also a good reason. I go to a broader aspect. Okay, there is also energy price. There is also a food price, and of course gold. Okay. And because actually Russia is not accepting dollar, and this actually started because the US put sanction on Russia, and they didn't want to get any dollar or any connection with US currency. So they forced actually other people that want to make business with Russian people, Russian companies, and the country itself. They have to change actually the dollar into ruble. And this is actually what we see. This is quite very impressive and very interesting to see this type of movement. And thank you for your feedback on the chat. So this is exotic pair. Even you cannot trade at the 5ers. I'm sure that in order a broker, this currency is actually limited in terms of margin. You see the huge movement. Actually, there is no stability. There are some analysts that expect a price stabilization between 50 and 60 in the midterm. Okay, this is approximately at that zone. So yeah, very interesting. Okay, let's move actually to MT5, and what I want to continue with is gold, and we actually talk about gold and metals last week, and just want to make a short review, but what's actually happening. Okay, let me show you. Okay, perfect. Okay, what we showed last week is that all the stock market is actually losing value. Okay, a lot of investors are afraid about any more sell-off in the Nasdaq, in the S&P, and they need a hedge against those short-term movement. Also a hedge against inflation, and almost all investors are going to put their head in gold. And technically, but also fundamentally, okay, there was an opportunity last week on gold. This was actually this type of trend line that making actually a bounce, and here you see also on the H4 this type of market structure, okay, accumulation, and then the price starting to change the direction, and we started to see this on the daily chart. Technically it looks good, fundamentally it looks good. Even I go to the weekly, okay, we can make in 6 months from now a new time high, and it's the same on silver, okay, the same on silver. Silver make a breakout below actually this weekly level, but on the daily chart it behave nice. We should be careful today, especially and the following week, if it's not a breakout and we test. Okay, we already break out this zone on the daily chart, and actually we start here making some retracement, so we should be ready if the market don't want to make a lower leg back, so a lower leg, but if this week we see a red candlestick here, we might be touching the next zone that's going to be this zone. This is the 1935 levels, okay, so it's going to be below 20. But again, on the mid-term and on the long-term scenario, also the short-term, as we see in gold, we have some demand on gold, and I think that's going to continue. Okay, that's going to continue. We can have a retest that trend line, but I won't sell gold. Okay, that's technically and fundamentally there is no signal to sell gold. Maybe you guys have a different idea, but buying commodity in this type of macroeconomic environment, and also when you get the opportunity to make a buy, okay, the price of gold touch actually 2060 at the top, and is today, it was last week trading around 1820. It's an opportunity, okay, for people that want to invest, or maybe to increase their exposure on gold, and that's what we see last week. We see last week that it's actually have a bounce of how much pips? Yeah, it was 650 pips. Okay. Especially respected to this demand here. Okay, so this was for gold and silver. Again, I know a little bit commodity. Oil is actually trading at 110. I'm not sure if we can see any retracement or any price, a lower price in the commodity sector. So yeah, I won't be selling any commodity in the near future. Okay, that's not what I want to do fundamentally, but even technically, or for example gold, silver is a bit more bearish, like we see at that point. But on gold, definitely there are some demand, and we see it clearly on the chart. Okay, let's move to the euro dollar. Okay, all right. Okay, I think it was not difficult to identify this monthly support on the euro dollar. This was around the 1.04 level. Okay, and actually the market bounced back from here. Okay, it make lower leg, and from here actually starting to push up. We also see on the dollar index that the dollar is losing a little bit value. We see the whole overextended movement on the dollar index, and and you know, it gives actually some fresh hair on the euro. Okay, this is actually when we break actually today this zone, and if we close like that at the end of the day, okay, actually you see we crossed above this point here, all that zone here of consolidation, and then having your leg down. We see also on the H1 this is quite a clearly trend on the H1. If the closure of the day, if the closure of the day is above actually that zone, then I think there is a high potential on the upside. Okay. But yeah, we should be looking at that zone. This is quite good to see this type of you know, zigzag uptrend. Okay, you have, I don't know too much Elliott waves, but we can highly identify the waves all the time here. An uptrend, and then actually it's pushing up. Quite amazing, but again, we should be very careful of that zone. If the price actually, we see that there was a supply here that actually this pin bar respected. We should be careful for the closure, and if we close above that zone, I will be only looking for buying euro on the following week. And again, if also coordinate with the you know, this weekly demand here, also stochastics crossing below 20. I believe that RSI is also oversold here, so you know, there is a lot of biases and a lot of signals to have along on the euro dollar. The market already makes some move. Okay, with the market from the bottom to right now, it's already 300 pips. So if you want to go for any long position, wait for any retracement. For, let's say, wait for a fresh demand zone, you know, to go with the trend and to open a trade. Yeah, it's kind of just a strong movement here, but we have, you know, we have a demand here that coordinate with this high point. Okay, this is actually the main zone that I want maybe to buy euro dollar. Okay, if the market goes back here, and if the market goes back here, but also if I want to have a better signal, for example, I would have to be more patient. I would have to wait that the market gives a leg up and then goes back to that zone, and then I would be looking for any buy. Okay, so this is the euro dollar, and again, you have always you should always have the dollar index chart next to you. We see actually the dollar index getting a little bit down, so of course we're going to see the euro dollar making a bounce up, but again, there are going to be a lot of news this week, so you have to be ready for volatility. How does the Bollinger Bands help you? Yeah, I know. I have a lot of people asking me these questions. I don't see a lot of other traders using Bollinger Bands. I'm very used to. It gives me a lot of indication regarding the volatility at each time. Generally, it doesn't give you a signal to make a buy or a sell, but it gives you the context of the average and its volatility. Okay, actually the line in the middle is the average price, and we see that actually the price is trading around the standard deviation of 20. Okay, here it will be difficult for me to buy because we can expect to retrace to the average, okay, like we have here. You see the price touch the standard deviation, goes back to the average, and then also again you see it stays all the time doing the standard deviation. Of course here it's never going back, so this is very difficult to go in a trend. Okay, actually to be very difficult for me to in my signal to open a sell in the middle. But it's also very, very helpful when you have some consolidation pattern. Okay, I don't know if maybe you can see here. Okay, I don't know. For example, this zone we can see easily that is the consolidation zone, and you see the market goes to the 20 standard deviation, goes up, touch again, goes back, touch again, etc., etc. That's why I also use stochastics to go and use Bollinger Bands. I know this is quite difficult to use it in Forex, but I use it for any other commodity. So this was helpful when I traded options, especially. That's it. Okay, let's move on to the dollar yen. And here it's quite also coordinating with what we said last week. Okay, we have this type of hat. Okay, I don't know if we can call this a hot pattern, but we have actually it's making like a circle at the top here, and actually the price is trading on the downside. Actually the price is a bit struggling to cross this zone. But if we cross actually this point, we can easily go back to again that level, and you will see on the daily chart for where it goes. Okay, this is this zone. Okay, so if we break this demand here, okay, actually we see on the daily chart that it's a little bit rejecting with a pin bar here. But if we cross below, if we see that the dollar is still depreciating, and we see the dollar index still having a leg back, we're gonna see the yen coming back to the 120 level. Okay, this is exactly here. You see here it's almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's almost 15 days in a row where the dollar didn't lose value against the yen. Okay, so there is like a lot of liquidity gap here, and if we cross below, high chance that we reach again this zone. So you have to be ready for any breakout. If we make a breakout, expect for a short retracement, okay, and then go with the trend, open a sell, and expect the 120 zone to come back. But it's also the same scenario as the dollar index. Okay, dollar index had a huge overextended movement, and create here a top, and actually we start to see any retracement, any changing trend. Okay, but we have to be careful with that demand zone here. Yeah, it still looks good on the H1. Okay, we see all the time a lower high. Okay, so it's kind of giving us the trend for the next short-term movement. Okay, you see on the H1 having all the time lower high, so it's kind of very strong indicator here for us. Yeah, not bad at all. For people looking for scalping, for example, this zone might be a good zone for making some buy, but if you hold it for a long term, it's going to be very complicated. The trend is very bearish from the beginning of May here, exactly at that spot, and it also can be a huge head and shoulders. Okay, you have the first shoulders here, the second one here. Oops, sorry. and you head even the double head, okay, you have this type of zone, and if we cross, yeah, I think that's what we can expect. 400 pips target. Yeah, this is not so far from this zone here. So be ready for this zone on the dollar again. This is quite a very, very key zone, I think, on the next week. So this chart will be definitely in front of my screen. Yeah, dollar card is still a bit complicated to get any sign. When I look at the dollar card, I said that, okay, guys, you have to be ready for this zone. That is still a strong zone. But when we reach this zone, okay, you see actually here this doji, we see all the time huge volatility when we reach this zone. I think if I remember, I explained that when we're gonna reach this point, let's say this zone, there is high chance that we are going to see an increase in volatility, and that's what we see here. Actually, this make a fake out at that point. So it might be hard to say, but I believe that a lot of traders were selling actually this point here, touching the stop loss at the top, and then the market goes back. I don't know, maybe from here. Oh, okay, it's on the zone, I'm going to sell, and then the price actually comes up here and takes some stop loss here to go back. But this is quite can be expected. Okay, you see that all the time after the market reach that zone, you have an increase in volatility, so you guys should expect to have an extended movement like this spot. Maybe pound yen might be also interesting. Yeah, the point won't react to that zone. Okay. Resistance from October 2021, touching 3 times. We break out it here. This was the movement of the yen, okay, that depreciates against all the pairs almost. And then we go back to that point, 156. That's why I expect also on the dollar yen. Okay, if we start to depreciate a little bit on the dollar, and we're going to see the dollar yen reaching this zone, the pound yen can goes back again to around 140, 156, or maybe 157. Okay, this is going to be here. Yeah, actually here might be a nice zone also. Oops. Okay, you see the market all the time reacting and goes back to that line. This might be the average volume, the highest volume that we can have on the market from the H4 chart, going to be here. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Yeah, I like this kind of movement. You see on H1 triangle making tiny movements, and then the price going to explode on one side. High chance that's yeah, I think that this one might be reacted. We can have a breakout on the upside, and then going to have a retracement probably. We can still have a lower movement from here, but it's quite good to see. I won't do nothing here. I would wait for any breakouts on each side. If the market breaks below, I'm going to go with the trend. If the market breaks higher, I would be looking for that zone if the market reacts. Okay. Yeah, quite the same on the euro yen. Almost the same. Here also you see from 2021 this resistance that touched 3 times, we break out, and then we make a retest here. Any other pairs, guy, that you want to check? Currency, maybe, I don't know, Australian dollar I didn't talk about. I know that last week on the Australian dollar I didn't have any idea what to do. But maybe we have yeah, okay, quite understandable to have this movement. The dollar is starting to go lower. Fake out to this demand, going to go back again. Yeah, the dollar index will be the chart that you want to look for the following week. Yeah, we can talk about indices. That's a nice idea. And I hope we're going to release some good news in the next weeks at the 5ers. Actually, you cannot trade indices, but we are in the process. I don't want to tell more about that, but you know, you have a little bit, a little hint. I don't know how we say that with my accent, but we are probably going to add any other assets very soon. Yeah, so why not? Let's discuss about Nasdaq and capital markets in US. Nasdaq and S&P might be a great thing to look at. Okay, let's come back to this. Okay. Yeah, we are not so far from the high of the COVID. I think this was here. Okay, so 9,600 from the COVID turned to 6,000, and here from 60,000 to 11,000. We are not so far from this zone, guys. We are already made half part. Yeah, today, what's happened today? The market still open? Not yet. Yeah, it's the CFD. It's very complicated. I want to check the future maybe. And Nasdaq, maybe that. No, that's not that. Maybe we have it here. No. maybe this is actually the futures. Okay, okay. NQ1, this is the ticker for Nasdaq. Yeah, we had some struggling here at that point on the H4, but you see the trend is very bearish. Okay, you see it very clearly from this point. Okay, the market is very bearish on the stocks market. That's why you see a lot of investors bringing their attention into gold, into commodity, and into Forex as well. Okay, and here, yeah, it's very complicated to make any buy actually at that point in the Nasdaq. Maybe on the lower time frame, you can have, you know, some point to make a buy. Maybe that zone actually can be a zone. Even the markets have a leg lower, but you see that today, you see the market going to open in 20 minutes, but you see already the market making a triple top in a lower time frame. So very difficult. I won't be opening any buy on the short term into the capital markets. That's why I put my eyes into gold, into silver, into bonds as well. That can be a hedge against inflation and against depression in the stock market. But yes, I don't know. I don't. You see the gap. Actually, the markets open higher. Okay, which I don't know, maybe 1% up. We are still 1% up, but yeah, okay, this can be an interesting point. I didn't see this gap. We are actually testing the gap. This is not so bad. As a day trader, this type of gap can be an opportunity for you, to I know that Michael, that actually joining us at the 5ers, trade stocks, and this type of gaps and this type of movement can be like a playground. You can expect maybe to taking this gap to the upside on the shorter time frame. Okay, if you have like 5 minutes, also 15 minutes. Okay, you can like a short bounce until here, but again, the overall context and the overall picture of capital markets is on the downside. Okay, and we're going to see what's going to happen this week with Powell that going to have a speech regarding the Fed. I'm not sure what he's going to talk about, but we should be very ready, I think. Yeah, if you buy the Nasdaq, you should be very careful of having a tight stop loss, at least. Okay, on the H1. I don't know if you are compounding your entry, but having here an entry, for example, you can have a short bounce and then going back to this demand. Okay, this is for the Nasdaq. Actually, you see the market is still a bit going down. This is actually delay. Okay, you see that this is delay because this is the future, not the CFD. Maybe we can go to the CFD to understand what's actually going on. Nasdaq CFD. Okay. So you already see that the market makes the move here at the gap. Okay, I didn't know that, but okay. The market is pushing up at the gap. Yeah, this was the gap. Yeah, quite interesting. Okay, it goes back to the highest point of last week, and then here making a huge movement up. Quite interesting. I didn't know actually that I was on delay. I did check. The market goes back here, closing the gap and pushing up. All right. Yeah, this is the next supply on the H4. I think that's what you mean wildlife Poland. You see, this is actually coordinating with that. But yeah, on a bigger picture, the world stock markets can never leg lower, and the only hedge against that would be to go with some commodity, because I think it's going to rise more. You already get oil today, trading at break-even at 110, and if you go to the S&P, this is quite the same, I believe. Yeah, the camera just went down, okay, so just bit to little bit hit. I'm going to come back on the camera in the next few minutes. Yeah, we actually halfway of reaching again the 3,300 zone here. I think a lot of investors are having their eyes on this movement in this zone, because it's going to attract a lot of buyers at that point. And on the H1 is it's quite the same. Making lower high all the time. Yeah, very bearish actually market and movement. You see, when we have a dip, some buyers, but again sell off and sell off. Yeah, we see the structure very easily. Okay, I think the camera comes back. Perfect. Yeah, no, that's still the same on the indices. Okay, you have actually the gap here that may be an opportunity for day traders, okay, that want to maybe play with the gap and move on. But if you have the bigger picture, yeah, I won't be buying anything on capital markets. Of course, I'm talking about the short term and mid term. Actually, if I look at the long term, okay, if I look at 5 years from now, 10 years from now, of course, I don't see the S&P and the Nasdaq at this place. But yeah, short term, mid term, I would definitely not be buying any indices. Okay. There is better opportunities on commodities, for example, gold, silver, for example, euro dollar as well. Okay, you have some opportunity on the euro when it fell from 1.2024 maybe to 100.04 against the dollar. So this is also a huge opportunity. Actually, I don't see any opportunity on the midterm into the capital markets. Yeah, this is quite having a delay, but if I look at the cash, okay, you see already the market having a bounce here, trading in a range actually. The market is also expecting the speech of Powell during the week, so we might see some range and consolidation until Powell going to talk, and that's it. But you guys should be ready. Alright guys, I think this is all for today. So thank you for people that interact with me in the chat. It was kind of interesting to talk about the Ruble at the beginning, dollar index as well. Then we move to some commodities. We finished by some indices. It's not my playground indices, but again, I have a bigger picture or looking for indices into the long term, not trading the indices in the short term, but that might be interesting, especially during these times of volatility. So guys, thank you for people that were with me until the whole session. Highly appreciate talking with you. So again, be ready for some news at the 5ers. Maybe we're going to add new asset very soon. I don't know. And again, wish you success in our platform, in our programs. Follow us, subscribe us also on YouTube and our social media. And see you tomorrow for another trading room. Goodbye, guys. Have a nice day.